Okay, if you can do the problems in the packet, you're well prepared for Friday. So I thought we'd spend some time doing these. You can take it later. Okay, guys. Number one, now on the test, we are not giving you the answers. We'll give you the questions, but we're not going to give you the choices. So that means you won't have to simplify your answers and match, which is kind of nice. On the other hand, you can't go and guess either. But this is the what rule? Product rule. So somebody can come up and do it, or you guys can do it on your own. You should get C for an answer. There we go. Okay, so we did the derivative of the first times the second, plus the second times the derivative of the first. And then you have to factor out the common factor. Good job. We will go in order. Product rule. So he did e to the x times the derivative of x squared, just 2x, plus x squared times the derivative of e to the x, which is just e to the x. Then you factor out the e to the x, common factors, and one of the x's. If you take x out of here, you're left with a 2. If you take x out of here, you're still left with x. You kind of did it backwards. Take out x, e to the x. Then this is left with 2 plus, and there's still an x left there. Because we did it backwards, that's okay. Okay, Noah, did you get that? Okay. How about number 2? It's D. Now, this is not a calculus question. Number 2. Okay. To do the domain, you could now, but remember tomorrow you don't get the choices. But right now on the domain, you can't divide by 0, so x can't be 3. Okay, so that rules out choices B and C. Now we're down to 3 choices. Then you have to look at this and say x squared minus 4 must be greater than or equal to 2. 0, I mean. Sorry. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. And so I would factor that to x minus 2, x plus 2. It's greater than or equal to 0. So then I test that. A little test line. So here's negative 2, here's positive 2. I get to include them. And because it's a parabola, this is plus, this is minus, this is plus. So it goes from negative infinity to negative 2, and from 2 to infinity, excluding 3. So how can you write that? Because you have to look at the choices here now. This would be fine. Nothing wrong with that. But now we got to match it. Well, A is wrong. B is wrong, because A doesn't have the other stuff. C is wrong. So now you've got it down to between D and E. There's no penalty for guessing on the exam. Well, E only gets you part of it. E just gets you this answer. I need this one, so it's got to be D. Number 2. I'm recording it too. ready for number 3? Not 3. Oh, 11. I know. We're skipping 3 because we don't know how to do that one. But we can do 11. Now, if this is free response, you're going to have to do some work. This can be done actually simpler than that if you know what you're doing. Okay, so you're asking for the equation of the tangent line. If I want the equation of a line, what am I going to need? Y minus, always start with what's easy, is the m times x minus x1. I can always get to point slope, that is point slope form. I can always get to slope intercept form easily. I need to know the y value. Guess what? I know what it is. I need to know the x value. I know that as well. And I need to know what? Slope. And how do you find the slope? That's the derivative. So I'll give you a chance to try it. So m is equal to dy dx. Are you going to have letters in there, or will it be a number? It'll be a number when we're done. Slope is always a number, although I see it often on the exam with letters. Okay, so give it a try. Yeah, we will. Y plus 1. Okay, guys, is the slope x minus 1. Make sure you don't miss the negative 2 on the chain rule there. Plus 1 times this. What's the derivative of the inside function? Then you need to evaluate this at x equals 1. Don't simplify that. So it's 3. This is a positive 1. And this is plus a negative 1. Did you get it? This is negative 6. This is going to be a negative 1 cubed. And negative 1 to the third power is negative 1. Okay, so it's not hard to go from point slope form to slope intercept. I think I said that right. Just multiply that out. So y equals negative 1 minus 7x plus 7. And lucky for us, there was only one answer with a negative 7 slope. That way? Oh, where? Okay, ready? We're going to draw a triangle. I'm sorry, what? Some of you have problems with the trig. And then I'll save these and put them up. Nope. Okay, what is the derivative of the sine? It's the cosine of x. Sorry, that should be x. So f prime of pi over 3 is equal to the cosine of pi over 3. Well, if you don't know what pi over 3 is in degrees, we change it. So it's 180 degrees over pi. So it's 60 degrees. because that's the rule for changing radians to degrees. Yeah, you can work with it, it's fine. And you remember we had an equilateral triangle? This is a 60-degree angle. If I drop this altitude, this is now a 30-degree angle. Now, I chose my triangle to have a side of 2 so I could avoid fractions. Anytime one of the legs is half the hypotenuse, it's a 30, 60, 90. You only know those and 45, 45, 90. So you don't know anything else. So this is the square root of 3. Now I want the cosine of 60 degrees, which is a over hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2. No square roots. If you memorized your circle, I think you're in bad shape. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to memorize it. I'm saying it's not going to help you. Okay. How about 15? Yes. What? Equilateral. If these are all equal, these are all 60. And if I drop the altitude, it bisects that angle. So I get 30, 60, 90. And I did Pythagoras theorem. Now, I could call that 1, and then this would be 1/2. That's ugly. So it's 2 squared minus 1 squared, which is 3. So it's the square root of 3. Ready? Two ways to do this, and I don't know if one's easier than the other. One way to do it is this. Now, the only thing I know how to take a derivative of is a power. But if I do it this way, I have to remember the chain rule. The other way I could do it is to realize that f of x is also this, square root of 2 times the square root of x. I don't need the chain rule on the second method. However, I've got some other issues with that. So if you do f prime of x, it's what? Outside function, yep, 2x. And then don't forget the derivative inside. And what happens to your 2's? They cancel. So this is 2x to the negative 1/2. Well, I don't like negative exponents. And more than that, I don't like fractional exponents either. What's 2x to the, now, to the 1/2? It's 1 over the square root of 2x. Be careful. If you have this, that is not equal to the square root of 2x. You have to be careful about those parentheses. And because you don't like to use them, you mess it up. So what's x equal to? We're going to evaluate this at x equals 2. Yeah. So it's equal to 1 over the square root of 2 times 2, which is 1 over 2. They told me that right in the beginning. Look at the beginning. There. Mhm. I don't know which way that is. This way? whole chapter. Well, I can't get rid of the trig. That's a good review packet. Oh, and it'll be for Monday. Monday is the free response with a partner. Ooh, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, it's dt dt. You would, but that's just one. Good. If you get that, you're getting it. Hmm. Well, it takes time. And I've been doing this 20 years, and I'm still learning new things after 20 years. Okay, we ready to go to the next one? Is this one okay? What is the next one? Oh, the next one talks about a particle moving along the x-axis. Oh. And it says, now, you guys, read the whole problem. T is greater than or equal to 0. Don't forget that part. It says, for what values of t is the particle at rest? How do you know particles at rest? When the velocity is 0. And what is the velocity? Because it's the change in your position as you change time. If you don't know that, you shouldn't drive a car. Your velocity is how far you travel divided by the time it takes to get there. If it takes you a long time, you're traveling slowly. If you don't know that, you shouldn't drive a car. So I want my velocity, which happens to be my derivative, to be 0. So you're going to have to find where that's 0. It's for you. If you don't do them, you're in trouble. Now, oh, I don't want to do that. Now, do you guys want to factor this like this? Or do you want to take out the 3? It's much easier. And what does that factor to give you? I need a negative 2t, minus 3. And why am I good at doing this? Because I've done the only few that there are. A million times. Okay, maybe not a million, but a lot. There are two answers. Right. Okay, Jack, I'm going to throw out one of those, but why? No, because t, they told me that t was greater than or equal to 0. If they didn't say that, I'd have to include the negative 1. See? Wasn't a choice. Okay, ready to try 18. What does that mean on 18? Second derivative. No, you said double. Don't forget the chain rule. Give you a chance to try. Well, no, because she just missed this. This 2 is still here. Ah. Yes, but they didn't see that. Also, okay, you guys, you have to have mathematically correct statements. Even if you get the right answer, if your statements going through it are not mathematically correct, incorrect, you do not get the points. Declan. Declan. So this is gone. And now it's correct. Now, on the multiple choice, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. But if it's free response, hey, you guys, did you hear that? All your things must be mathematically correct, even if you have the right answer, and you join things together that shouldn't be joined, and you still get to the right answer, it doesn't matter. Okay. Do what? 4s and 5s, and then there are those that don't. If you do the work, if you really do the work and try to understand it, you should get at least a 3. Okay, guys, is this a calculus problem? No. Now, no, it's a pre-calc problem. There's no trig. This is your next favorite subject, logarithms. You need to know these properties. What's that equal to? Jacob, do you remember what that's equal to? No, it's the log of A. Do you remember that? Now, if you don't know that, that tells me you probably didn't do that worksheet reviewing logs. Then you have to ask. And what about this one? Okay, the only way to solve that is to write it as a single log. So, we'll do that. I'm going to use that first property. Now, do I need parentheses? Yeah. Yes. A lot of people don't want to use the parentheses. Matt? Noah? You have to have parentheses here, or you're going to get a statement that's not true, and non-existent is not a choice. So that's a problem. Now, you also need to remember what is the log of 1? It's 0. Because it's e to the 0 equals 1. Okay, let's go ahead and evaluate that. This is the log of x minus, what's the log of 1? 0. Then what's the next sign? Alexis? Alexis, what's the next sign? Plus the log of x. The log of 1 is 0. Okay. Add that up. How many ln of x's do you have? 2. So I get 2 times the natural log of x is equal to 2. Now, to solve a log equation, you have to have a log by itself. You can't have 2 in front of it. Okay, Brian? I could put 2 in as an exponent, or I could be more clever than that and divide by 2. Because that's just 2 times the log of x. That's e. So the log of x is equal to 1. What's the base? E. So e to the first power is equal to x. Now, if we don't give you the answers, you're going to have to do the work. If you were on the exam and you have the answers, you could. It will take you longer. Substitute all those in there and see which ones make it true. It does take longer and you are in a time test. Sometimes that is the best choice. Okay, we're not ready yet? Okay. Yes, we do. Because I saw 27 done incorrectly in the other class. What time is it? We'll get 27 done, and we'll be a little behind the other class, but that's okay. Okay, ready for me to switch the boards? I like to put 1 on a page Because if I put more than one on a page, when you print it, they get really small. So that's why I do one. Okay, x is equal to 3. Is the function undefined, continuous, and or differentiable? Let's start with continuity. Because can a function be differentiable if it's not continuous? No. So if it's not continuous, I'm done. So I'll start with continuity. Now we are going to pretend that this is a free response question because they gave this question, similar question, the last couple of years. So let's check for continuity. Do you guys remember what you have to have for continuity? F of C, in this case it's 3, must exist. James, put that away, please. So when he watches the video tonight, he's forever immortalized on YouTube. Okay, what's about the limit? That must exist. And they have to equal each other. Okay, so what should you do to study for the test? You should do your homework and do the packet. Okay, you guys. What's f of 3? Does it matter which equation I use? Yes. Yeah. Does it matter which equation I use? Yeah. Which one am I going to use, first or second? Second. I don't know. This is 9. This is 27. Sorry, I didn't put the number here. What's 0? 18 minus 9 is 9. Okay, what's the limit? You must find the limit from the left, which now makes me look at the x squared. That's equal to what? 9. And then I need to look at the limit as x approaches 3 from the right. This is what you would have to write on a free response question. Okay, Jacob? I've seen it. You guys don't do it. They're poorly written. You have to write all of this, and then what? That's not enough. But what's true about all 3 of these? They're equal because we apply number 3. Therefore, it's continuous. Okay, is it differentiable, Jack? How do you know if it's differentiable? Take the derivative, because that's what that means. So what's the derivative here? What's the derivative here? It's 2x. We know it's continuous. What's the derivative on the next one? 6. Now we're only looking at x equals 3. What's the derivative at x equals 3? On the left. Okay, what's the derivative on the left? Declan. Guys, we can't come back into this in April. We have 6 weeks. So we have to get it now. It's 2x plus it's on your final exam, which is 6. The left side 6, the right side is 6. Therefore, it's differentiable. So it's both, which I think is, no, it's continuous. So it would be E. The derivative from the left equals the derivative from the right. So you could have something like this. And that's what they're going to want to see. You could have this. Is that differentiable here? Is the slope on the left approaching the same number from the right? No. It's got to be the same. I did plug it all in. This is the limit. The left and right have to be equal. Yes, it is. So the derivative of this one is 6. The derivative of this is 2x. But at 3, it's 6. That's a derivative. That's the derivative of the tangent of 3x. Of the tangent of 3x. Because there's a 3 in there. No, you're not. There's the 3. There's the 3. This is f of x plus h. This is f of x. All over h. And we'll do this tomorrow. Tangent of 3x. Got to think a lot. Tomorrow.